Hello there, my name is Oduor Jagera from Money Monkey, and Money Monkey is a literacy kind of platform where we're talking about money issues. Now, today I'm having an interesting guest who is also my friend. His name is Onyango Otieno. And Onyango Otieno is a trauma coach, right? I got it right. Yeah, a trauma coach. So I imagine that this is about coaching people on trauma. And what is important, what is interesting about Onyango's business is that it is I would call it a hybrid business where he meets people physically and he also meets people online. And sometimes the business is completely online. And before this episode, we were talking about, him telling me that the reason why he decided to go online was because of COVID. And so COVID made us go online. To a lot of businesses that were not thinking about having a website, having a social media page, they all decided to go online. But then there are things that you have to sort of know when you're doing your business online, whether you're doing it the hybrid way, or whether you are doing it completely, online. And today I'm going to be talking with my friend Onyango Otieno. Onyango Otieno is a trauma coach, and he's also a poet, he's a writer, he's doing so many things. So welcome to the program, Mr.
Thank
Onyango.
you, sir.
Yes. I'm going to be talking of this Money Monkey is about money, and it's about monkey business. So Money Monkey is monkey business, or money business.
Yeah.
All right. Before I start, I want to ask you your relationship with money. What is your relationship with money? Do you love money? Are you afraid of money? I ask that because in Christianity, we were taught that the love of money is not something good.
It's the root of all evil.
But come to think about it, money is moving a lot of things in our lives. I've had people that are saying I would rather cry in a car than
Range Rover.
in a Range Rover. So Onyango, what is your relationship with money?
That's been a journey. I want to give you a story. I love stories. And when I was in Form 1, this is the year 2003. So my mom and my dad are wananizindikiza. I'm going back to school. It was in Nyanza, home Migori, Rapogi, and they take me to Mudhurwa bus station, and my father gives me 400 shillings, and we don't have a conversation about what this 400 shillings is for. I assume that this is money for me to eat on the way.
Yeah.
Kumbe Jamaa has planned that this is my pocket money for first term. You see. So I'm getting to school broke already because I think I had like 150 shillings left. And I'm not hearing any conversation from Nairobi, from my dad, from home. That here
you didn't ask them that this is
you could not.
Okay.
With my dad, it was always what you're given is what you go with.
Yeah.
You see. So money conversations are conversations I've always been very afraid of because of how I see things being ran at home. Among the things that my parents fought the most about is money, how it was made and how it was spent. And it brought a lot of crazy friction between the two. And that meant by design, they never had space to sit me down and tell me, oh, so this is how you budget, for example. This is how you plan for your finances. I never saw anything like that. In fact, how I knew my father was suffering through it is he was a teacher, and by that virtue, I attended the schools he was teaching at because it meant we were not paying school fees. But then I would imagine all those years of him working in these schools, he would probably be saving up for my secondary education or my university education. And then I got to university, and all of a sudden, I'm being chased home for fees. And I've not been paying school fees for almost all my primary school life. So he definitely also did not know how to handle money. You get what I mean? And I saw how, for example, my mother came from a bit of a well-off family. She had some idea of how to handle money, and of course, like, her home was also a bit more settled emotionally. There was not so much chaos. So she was saner at home when it came to money matters. But of course, my father and ego and what I cry about all the time, patriarchy.
Yeah.
It was very difficult for them to communicate in a healthy manner regarding money. So of course, I had wounds that I carried from these disagreements that they had at home about money. So I was scared of money. I was scared of money for the longest time. And it baffles me for sometimes when I look back how much money I have actually made in my life, and the fact that I can't account for 120% of it. I just can't account. What did I do with this? What did I do with that? And of course, some things you can see. But for most parts, I didn't have those mechanisms until I met a woman from Meru whom I once loved, and she was a financial therapist who
please guys,
I am opening up your mind.
Let's not get into weird things. There is a financial therapist.
Yeah, like a financial coach. I mean, it's just fancy name for somebody who advises you about finances.
Yeah.
And she opened my mind to the possibilities that I have if I learned how to manage my money. You know me, we've been freelancers all our lives probably, and that means that there's no, look, our basis of finances mostly is with salaried people like you. If you are having a monthly income as salary, then this is how you can go with it. But nobody taught us how to handle money as a freelancer, as a creative, even worse, even how to value your work, those kind of things. We didn't know that. So meeting this person, she'd teach me, things to do with treasury bonds, things to do with saving, investing, compartmentalizing your finances. You can do this for that, keep this here, keep this here, keep that here, what money market funds are and stuff like that. And for the first time I realized, and I remember she told me that I'm not poor. She said, your problem is not making money. You do make money. The issue is just managing, and you have to reconcile your history with money and your present with money and what you want to do with it in the future. Those things need to be clear in your head. And so since then, some 2 years back, I have been a little better with how I handle my finances. And I think for most parts, I'm still learning through the ropes. I think it's very difficult for anybody who does not have like a monthly income or a regular income. The word is regular. If you don't have a regular income, it's very difficult to know how to handle your business with finances. And so for most parts, at least I'm aware, this is how much money, let's say per month, I spend mostly on transport or on food or on other amenities that I use. At least those basic things are things that I know. But I also know many people don't know about these things. So I'm learning. I remember one time last year, something really shocking happened to me. These people from the UK inboxed me. They found my email on my website, and they told me that they wanted me to share my ideas about the scope of mental health in Africa in the next 10 years because they were doing some research for a product, a wellness product in Africa. And these people were paying me 82,000 shillings for an hour. You know, that was so ridiculous to me because I had never imagined, first of all, that I can be paid for ideas, you know, and that can be the value of my work. You know what I mean? And so even in relation with money, before, that is sometimes work I will do for a whole month, you know, to be paid such an amount of money. And so alongside understanding how I can manage my finances, my relationship with money has also been improving in terms of how I value my work, which is very important.
All right, great. So let's get into what you do. You're a trauma coach, and I imagine that is it also correct to say that there is another word that is used for this thing. What is the word? A counselor.
Yes.
So that word can also fly in as something that you do.
Yeah.
And so this interview, I want us to talk about the business, and then we want to talk about the kind of, because I have never been to a counselor. I have never been trauma coached, but I believe that I have a lot of trauma from my past.
You know, you don't even believe it. You know, the nightmares.
I know I have a lot of trauma from the past, and one of the how did you become a trauma coach? I want you to answer it in a very short way, and then after that I would like to talk about the people that come to you to be coached or to be counseled, if we can use that word lightly. And then we are going to be talking about, I find it very difficult to pay for somebody just to talk to me about my problems. You know, the reason why I find it very difficult, because I once had a problem in church. I still have that problem. I was weaned of it by the pastor. I used to have a problem with sweaty hands, and it was so bad that I started having panic attacks about it. And so I went to church, and Reverend Tom Otieno sat me down and he told me about how I cannot change this thing. Okay? And the best thing is to do is that, because one of the problems that I was having is that if the idea that I'm going to go to a place where I'm going to shake hands with people would give me a panic attack. And I would be so anxious until I shake hands. And then it will go away. Right? For the beginning. And even when I see somebody coming and trying to join the group, I would have that anxiety. And then so Pastor Tom talked to me about the fact that I could not change it. And he told me that when this situation arises, you have got two things to do. Gota, or tell these people that my hands sweat, so I don't want to shake hands with you.
So self-disclosure, yes.
You know,
yeah.
And I started doing that, and it just the problem just vanished.
Yeah.
So anyway, how did you get into the? Can we call it a business?
Yeah, it is a business.
It's a business.
Yeah.
How did you get into trauma therapy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was at the time just leaving off work from working with an organization that does trauma work, and we were working with Kenya Police.
Yeah.
We were doing some trauma work for Kenya Police, and COVID came and dismantled that because people could no longer meet.
Yeah.
So I decided, why don't I go into private practice? Because I had some certification from the training I went through in the organization, in the work we were doing. And so because everything was virtual and I was also looking for other means of income, because I was really good at this thing, I said, why don't I start it? And so, I did some little advertising, especially on my Instagram, and, customers just started coming in. Yeah.
How does it work, and who are these people that are coming to you? Because I imagine that it's very difficult for people to get into to say, okay, ikitu, I can't deal with it. Somebody, I have to talk to somebody about it. Do you know how somebody realizes that I have this problem, I need to go to a trauma therapist?
I would say for my case, I'm not your traditional psychologist who comes through the system and starts to do the private practice. I have been using storytelling to teach and inform. And many people get that trust from reading my stories about how I grew up, stories about how I overcame these traumatic backgrounds that I had, stories about the information I now have regarding what's happening in the brain when you're feeling anxious, that your hands are sweaty, explaining to you this is what's really happening in your brain at this time, and these are the tools you can use to control this issue. So I'm telling you, you can gota, or you can self-disclose that, before I shake your hand, this is my situation. Those are tools now that you're being given to go through that. So the fact that I have that knowledge, and which came to me especially when I began my own therapy back in 2017, and realizing, first of all, there are so many people who are going through incredible, difficult, heavy things, but they carry so much shame around speaking up, and so because I tell my stories freely, quite freely, people will come to my inbox and they tell me, even me, my father, even me, my mother, me, my husband, my son, my child, and stuff like that. And when I finally came to understand the science around trauma, I was like, everybody needs to know about this. So I was already telling stories around these issues. So by the time I was now offering a service for trauma coaching, I already had a following that understood this is my kind of content, and so it was easy the element of trust already existed, and that was my entry point.
And I can imagine that it is sort of a health issue.
Yes, it is.
And so when I go to the hospital, I say that, okay, I tell the doctor that I am having troubles with my stomach, and he's going to request a stool.
Yeah.
And he's going to request the pee to be looked at. He's going to, so they are very different moving lanes. Or if I'm having so much headache, they're going to tell you that you need a scan.
Yes.
So in terms of business, you're going to pay 13,000 for a brain scan, or more than that. You're going to pay, let's say, 4,000 for to have your stool tested, or for your blood to be tested is going to be 3,700, depending on the hospital that you go to.
Yes.
When somebody's in trauma therapy, how do you charge? How does it really work? Do you look at this person, you're saying that this person has lost his head, and I'm going to charge them more? How do you go around charging for the service?
So that is very contextual, depending on your geography, depending on sometimes your knowledge, depending on your skill. Depending on the work at hand. It's very contextual. So some people decide they're going to have a fixed charge for all types of work, and some people say, like I myself, sometimes I change.
But do you think there is a degree of trauma? Like this guy is pretty traumatized.
Yeah. Trauma.
Are you going to say that I'm going to charge this person more? Because
no, that's not the case. For me, it's like we'll just prolong the period. The period of meeting will be longer. Like, let's say it will still be an hour. It might not go for more than a month.
Yes.
We're just going to extend that, but I don't increase the amount just because. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, the level of skill most times is what determines how much money somebody wants to charge as a therapist, as a counselor, as a coach. It's in the level of skill, because the time you've had to put into learning this skill is really what you're charging for. You get what I mean? It's the same way with you. Like the times I knew you as you were doing photography, what you were charging when you began and what you were charging 3 years into the job was worlds apart. Right? So it's the level of skill, really. Yeah.
what are some of the things that what is mostly happening to people? Like, would you say that when I look at the kind of clientele that I'm having, this is the problem that people are having? For example, in Nairobi, what is it that you see a lot with people who are looking for a trauma coach?
3 things. 1, childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Things that happen at home, mostly between their parents, sometimes between extended families or siblings. The other thing is relationships. People are really struggling through relationships.
What when you talk about relationships, sexual relationship? Is it friendship?
Yeah, romantic relationships. Sometimes friendships, but so romantic relationships, then friendships, and then sometimes relationships with religion, church. Yeah. Most times, really.
How about siblings and parents?
It's up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our home area, and then when you get out, there's an issue with the other community, like church and friendships. And then now sometimes it's workplace, sometimes it's church, sometimes just other places outside the home. But on the big part, so that's childhood trauma, and then there is relationships, and then there is money. Those 3 things are the big major ones. Many times money and relationships are still connected to childhood trauma.
What are some of the things now that, because we are on a money platform, what do you hear a lot about money from people? So
people most times are struggling with managing the money, because it comes and it goes. They can't explain where the money went. They are also struggling with undervaluing their work, right? If you came from a really poor place and you had to work so hard to get going, it takes a while. If you're not exposed, you actually believe that you must always work so hard to earn really good money. You have to always overextend yourself to earn really good money, even though sometimes it's just a matter of tweaking how you present yourself, and then you work less and you really still maintain your standards of quality production, and you earn way much more. So managing, and sometimes with some people it's also getting the money. But one of the biggest issues is in relationships, money in relationships. We are definitely struggling with classism in our culture, where if I'm meeting you and you're earning way less, in our culture, if that position is like you're a woman in that position, it's almost a very acceptable that the man is earning more, then he's gonna take care of you and life will go on. But if you're the woman earning more money and the guy is earning less money, then many times there are issues around that, because money and identity, gender identity, are also very, very closely related. So there are many problems. Those are problems I have also had, where if you're dating somebody who is earning more money and you're both nervous about talking about
I like the word you're using. You're both nervous.
You're nervous. So many assumptions.
But maybe you could give a free. You could give a free advice on this issue of marrying. Is it what they call marrying up?
Hypergamy. We call it hypergamy. It has a name.
What is hypergamy?
It's like marrying somebody who is above your social status or financial status.
But it applies to women. The word applies to women.
To anybody. It's just a word.
But that's
the culture is what gives meaning to that word. So many times in our culture, it's women who marry up. Yes, but the word is just there. It is not associated with any gender or anything. It's just a word. The way love is just love. It's not manly or womanly. It's just love. So hypergamy is the same way. It's just marrying or dating somebody who's above your social status. Yeah.
And do you think that a man should not be nervous about marrying up? Is it when a man marries up, then he's marrying a woman that has got more money than they do?
Most times, yes.
Most times,
yes.
And but then I think the thing is that you don't know that you're going to be dating somebody who has got more money. You just suddenly know. For example, you are on Bumble, is it called?
Yes.
And then you show up for a date,
Yes.
and she has a V8.
Yes.
She has a V8,
Yes.
Toyota or Range Rover.
Yes.
And you come in those little Ubers.
Vits. Yes.
Vits.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it becomes hard, ne?
Yeah. When you start sweating. Who is paying the bill? Who is going to do this? I guess many times we are victims of that culture.
Yeah.
You will not know for sure. Like if we're just meeting off a dating app and we're meeting at a place and I look like, oh, you look like you're more smartly dressed than me, and money speaks for itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For most times.
Yeah.
So it is those messagings that now start eating me.
Yeah.
Those messagings that if I'm earning lesser than you, then it will mean I'm disadvantaged. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the messagings, and those messagings come from our anxiety with poverty.
Yeah.
As a culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's, when we are having these conversations, we just talk about, men, women, who's supposed to earn more, it's way deeper than that. It doesn't end at just earning more and one other person is earning less and this is their identity. We have to always look back. What is our own history with money? And in our homes, why were things the way they were with money? If you are telling me this story about your father, hiding money at some place in the house, this 50 shilling note, and he forgets about it, and he comes back and is convinced that your mother is the one who took the money and beats the shit out of her. You get what I mean? So he believes that he's supposed to be in control of finances at home, because he's the main breadwinner, you see. So if that is the history we are coming from, we have to be honest about how that has affected us and how it's going to affect women too, for example, because we are getting to a time where women are also starting to earn a bit more than many men, especially in this city. You know what I mean? So we just need to be honest about it, but we are afraid to look into that wound for most parts.
Look, trauma and money trauma, if I may call it that.
Financial trauma has
a lot to do with how we do business.
Definitely.
How we spend.
Definitely.
And even if you don't have financial trauma, but you have other trauma in your life, and I think it can really affect your productivity, your business, how you relate with people. So I believe that there are lots of people out there that are having, whether they're having financial traumas or they're having just general trauma. How much does it cost to see a therapist like you? Because don't tell me that it varies. Because people listening would want to know. I mean, I am in shit. I am in this problem, and I want to see a therapist. What I believe you know something about what it looks like. For example, somebody's going to do therapy for maybe 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. So so we call that treatment. The treatment period is very diverse, again, depending on somebody's availability, finances, and depth of the support they need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So some people, I usually advocate if it's the first time and maybe, you're coming to me and you have childhood trauma, I advocate often, let's do 2 months first. We go deep into the issues, go into them, make you understand, make you aware, and then give you certain tools that you might need to move forward. Some people respond really quickly, some people take longer, and then after that we decide, okay, do you want to continue per week, or do you want to reduce to a session a month to just check in, or do you want to totally take a break and come back after a while?
Do you know if people listen when you're talking with them? Is it like the way a pastor preaches and people listen, How
it's an
different is it?
exchange. It's an exchange. It's an exchange. And what's the most important thing that a client often has to know is that they are actually the center of the process, not the therapist, not the coach. You are the center of it. This is your body. This is actually your life. You know what I mean? So you are actually the bigger medicine. You know, your mind, your body, your spirit, that's what we are working with. So my job there is to support you to know how to lead your life the way you want to be, the way you want to be intentional with it, okay? So I'm not preaching to you. I'm making you aware of what's going on inside you so that you can make those decisions for yourself, by yourself, to live a healthier life. You see, so it's an exchange. Most times you're listening to me, I'm listening to you, then we are trying to figure out the best way forward for yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Onyango. It was really nice listening to you.
I appreciate
about trauma therapy and financial. Is it the same thing? Trauma therapy and financial therapy?
Same line of work.
Same line of work.
Yeah.
So there you have it. I was chatting with Onyango Otieno, and he has been talking to us about the work that he does and how trauma affects our financial lives. The reason why we are doing this thing is that so that people can be able to know how to deal with their financial lives. We share, financial literacy. We share the tools that you can use to spur your business. And so if you like this episode, please subscribe, hit that notification bell so that each and every time we have a video, you can always know that the video is out. Thank you for now, and until another time, bye.